In this episode of Reflective Practice, we bring to you a conversation between two members of the learning community of reflective practitioners. One is interviewing the other. The person being interviewed is the principal of a school, and she has undertaken to conduct action research on a very unique problem. She wishes to get teachers to take ownership of their own development so that they are no longer waiting for the principal or the head of the department to identify their areas of development and send them to some workshop or conference. This process of her thinking through her action research problem and being questioned by other members of the group is being shared by her in this short clip in an interview with another member of the group. We would like you to see how her thinking unfolded, the journey of her mental landscape.
Where did the idea come from? This was Nirija had shared at the end of first session, the entire six, the teacher Jota session. Education for what? Effort to seeing themselves as future experts and decision makers, and of assuming that their viewpoint mattered to others. Still, others stated that they were in the habit of expecting to be treated respectfully, to be listened to, and to be taken seriously. I felt this is where I felt that this would be a good option for both teachers and students on how do we improve things in school as a culture. So this is where I had got that idea from. But from taking student teacher, because I still have a very young school. We are just in our third academic year, and teachers want to be treated respectfully. If they had to be taken seriously, then we need to empower them. So that's where the first idea came from. Okay. Then second, the mainstream conventional school. And for the past 3 years, we've been doing a lot in terms of teacher development, but most of it is driven by me. Okay. But I wanted that shift to happen where they take the onus, and I want them to have that power to decide on what they want to do, how they want to do, and implement it. Because when they do it, they will have a lot more serious and accountability for themselves. So they know that they are in control of things and they are doing it for themselves rather than for me, because right now it is led by me and I have to constantly nudge. Niraj shared this paper. When I read the entire thing, I said, why not allow the teachers to have a say in what they want to improve and empower them, is where the idea came from. Okay. Initially, when I shared my AR with the entire team, I got a lot of questions, and a lot of these questions were very helpful for me, and it triggered a lot of things. And at that point of time, what I was still looking at was, how do I lead it? How do I, take? I was still looking at from my perspective. So, for example, when many of those questions came to me, for instance, when we had to look at career graph of teachers, plot them in career graph. I was looking at more of, yes, it is needed. Maybe I need to plot them and then see from there how do we improve them, like zone of proximal development. So that is what I was looking at. Or when when Shubhangi and I had a discussion about vision statement, I felt quite excited about it. So I felt all these things will help me to like the how of my AR. So I was looking at that. But then somewhere down the line, there were two things that kind of hit me also. I was quite I think I was looking at it just from my own lens and not looking at from anything else, any other point of view. But there were two things that kind of made me trigger. One, now ours is a CBSE school, mainstream school, so we cannot call ourselves a alternate school and do what we like. We have a structured curriculum which we have to follow, and our parents are the parents who will want to see that curriculum is being transacted in the classroom. So I cannot go ahead and we cannot change something. So certain things will remain the same. Second, our school already has a vision statement. Now, when I, as a principal and as a team, our we should work in alignment with the vision. I cannot have a different statement. I cannot go take the teachers to the process of creating a vision, because the school already has a set of vision. Felt when I sat down and started to think. One, it's easy to plot someone on a graph when you're marking them on some numericals. For example, we take the test scores. But here, teachers are not doing that. Teachers are transacting lessons. So on what basis do I plot them? Okay. And these are teachers whom I already have taken and they've been with us for the past 3 years. Now, if I have to plot them and say that this is where you're on the career graph and this is where you need to move, I'm not sure whether I'll be doing the right thing for the teachers' morale. The idea of the entire thing is to empower the teachers to get better, not to make them feel that they are not good enough. And from there to then I need to also look at scale. What scale do I use to measure them? And then what is the scale again? If I want to say that you need to move from point A to B, I need to have clarity of what is at point A and point B, which again is complicated. Couple of papers that I took out and read. One is teacher-led professional development, empowering teachers as self-advocates by Michelle Stacy. Okay, so when I read that, like I realized, and what was missing from my earlier thought process. Earlier, also, I was trying to lead it in the sense that I was still going to be in control. Though I was going to say teacher-led development, somewhere I felt that I was looking at only from my perspective and how I could control the whole thing, the learning. But now when I read this entire thing and a lot of thought process went through, I realized that unless and until I give that respect and trust the teachers to do it on their own, with a bit of maybe, nudging, holding, or being supportive, only then they are going to take it. Otherwise, it will still be Vidya's PDP program for the teachers. So that is where that shift happened. So here again, it was not a career graph, but it was more of a self-reflection. So I felt that here, instead of career graph, I could do something similar with certain areas, what is relevant to a a school in like more relevant in our school context. So that's when I realized that career graph is not important, but I need to develop my own self-assessment form for the teachers, and which is easier for them, and also it is more of a reflection. So when the teachers do that, they're trying to again assess areas where they need to improve for themselves. That was one shift that happened. So Vicky had come up with this question where what was the impact, how do these teachers recognize that the impact that they have is on the larger society and they have a bigger role. That was something that was very important. I felt that if I can get it across, then teachers will understand that. So that's when I thought, one is Shubhangi's I still retain, like how we can get the teachers to do the summer reading, and then take them towards discussion of what should be an ideal school according to them, or how should teaching learning process happen. And every year we've been doing summer reading in our school. So this year we got Deva Swapna and Totocha. And in fact, as of yesterday, we got the books. And through the school, we have given it to the teachers. So that is done. And second, like I knew that these were the discussions, and that is how from those discussions, I was going to lead to the next one, where I want to bring about a similarity between the NEP, what they have. Again, NEP is also talking about the same thing, what is mentioned in these books so many decades ago. They're still talking about critical thinking, creativity, collaborative learning, interdisciplinary learning. So I thought I can ask the teachers, so then they will be able to identify, okay, these are the areas where we feel that maybe as a school we need to take up interdisciplinary activities or teaching more, or where we need to maybe bring in a lot of creativity. So that was identified, one part. Okay, so do you think in the past 3 years we have been able to have a positive impact or negative impact? And that is where I'm going to get them to do the reflection of what as a school, as a team, we've done in the past 3 years. Then again, I'm going to talk about adaptation. Now, when we spoke about all these things through the professional development programs, through in-house training and all that, how have the teachers adapted to the school? Has there been a positive adaptation or negative adaptation? Have they been able to shed certain practices, or are we still holding on to some practices which is not allowing us to bring the desired shift, or see the differences in the school? So that was something that I want to bring about. So then if they identify, again, these are the areas where we still feel that we as a school, as a team, need to function, then that helps us to identify, narrow it down to what are the areas that we need to bring about a shift. And again, the same way through the Diva Swapna and Totuchan and NEP, again, we're going to identify through the discussions, what do you think we need to do or to bring about a change? The teachers will be able to identify and again narrow it down. So once I've narrowed down what are the areas, that is through the teachers, through the teacher-led discussion, if the teachers are able to list down these are the areas, then again through the consensus, we're going to identify which do they think is the most important for this academic year, and if we can focus on that. Design it in such a way that teachers will identify, okay, if this is what we are going to take, then how can they design it? Like how can we develop the professional development program? Maybe the entire 10 of them can be split up into different groups, or 15 of them. Yeah, we have about 12 of us. Okay, so 12 of them can be split up into maybe 4 different groups or 3 different groups, and then each one of them can develop the professional development based on what they have identified and present it through the peer learning and sharing to the rest of the group. And then as we presented, I also thought, again, we'll see how is it that they can see this visible, like visibility in there, or bringing about a change in their teaching learning practices. So maybe again we could have peer observation. Now since they have done the training, when they observe each other's classes, they would be able to find out if the teachers have been able to take it back. And we can have a review every month and see whether the teachers, where is the learning happening, have they been able to process it, have they been able to take it back into the classroom. So this is where I have kind of zeroed down at this point of time. So even Nirija had sent me that question, career graph, why and who, and all that, and even the vision statement. Those two also, that when Nirija had asked me that question, okay, that also made me to think. Okay, and so I would say Nirija's again feedback, what she had written in those. Okay, whether these two are really required, and whose vision are you talking about, and career graph, why career graph, and why all that. So that also, it was making things complicated. I felt it was not required, and therefore again moved and decided not to have the vision statement as well as the career graph. And when I read this teacher-led professional development also, I told you they had come up with this rubrics. When I looked through the entire rubrics, I felt that this was more of a self-assessment for the teachers, and they were not, and it's not going to be marked, or like they're not going to be grading themselves. Instead, it's more of a reflection tool for them to see what are the areas that they need to work to improve. So I felt this was better when compared to the career graph.
From what you said, Shubhangi's questions, Vicky's suggestions was a trigger, but mainly it seemed to be what you read that made a difference. Would you say that?
Yeah, again reading, and also again I would say that I also slowed down and I sat down and thought through the entire process. Yes, there is a lot of clarity that it has to be a teacher driven professional development, and I just need to be the facilitator there. Okay, and probably give them the maybe just support them where required, but as much as possible I want it to be led by them. So for me, actually, I think the first test will happen when we come back, when the teachers come back after the holiday, and when we have the discussion, the very first, that is what is going to actually, help me to find out. So I think that's where I need to learn, because I really need to learn to give the space for the teachers and allow them to express and just sit back. From there, I feel the direction in which it is going to go would entirely be based on what the outcome of those teacher-led discussions is going to be. So I want to make it a sustainable practice, not just for 1 year and okay, at the end of 6 months, I got my AR and okay, there I am dusted, done and dusted. I don't want to do that. Yes. I want it to be a sustainable practice. So when I say sustainable practice, maybe we can create that culture in school where the teachers start identifying that, and maybe they take it up. Okay, maybe this year we work on maybe questioning skills, or next year we work on maybe student management. So they take it up and they identify and they work through that, and the entire planning. So as one more advantage is, when they start doing this, I think we're also empowering them in different ways. When I say that, it could mean that I'm also grooming them for various leadership roles tomorrow, as the school is very young right now. So tomorrow when they become head of the departments or coordinators, they already have gone through the process. So their own abilities, skill set, knowledge, learning is growing. So that way the school is also going to benefit, and I'm also preparing them for future roles that they may take up. Okay, even if they, not everyone is going to become head of the department or something else, but even then each teacher, even if not in my school, when they go outside, I want them to feel that yes, this 3 years or 4 years that I spent at Delhi World Foundation has transformed me, has helped me to become a better teacher. And that is something I definitely want. And fourth, most importantly, if I can get it done, I feel my job as a school leader is to always nurture others, and through them I'm also able to impact the students and the parent community. I feel the kind of impact it's going to have is going to be a lot more.